Alix Wilton Regan, welcome to An Actor Despairs. How are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you, Ryan. How are you?
I'm good. I love your surname. Um,
Thank you. Both of them. Both
yeah,
of them.
exactly. It's great. Is it hyphenated?
I dehyphenated myself because I'm that person.
Oh,
Yeah, and I don't
touche.
want it to be difficult. So
Take
I
taking the
dehyphened
power
myself.
back. I love
I
that.
know, right? And
Why is
confusing everyone in the process.
I just saw A Nightmare Wakes. You were awesome in that. We were just talking off air.
Thank you.
Julie Giello is one of my best friends, and actually is a huge reason this podcast exists. It was actually his idea
Ah,
to help me
was
start
it?
it. Yeah, well, it was my idea, but he
That's
helped
so
me.
cool.
Yeah, so love you, Julian. But we're here to
Oh.
talk about you and all your work. I've seen The Wife, and you literally work so many video games. It's insane.
I do. It also keeps me away from waiting tables. So take
Yeah,
it.
I'm trying to get voiceover rep now. You would think with this podcast it'd be easy, but yeah, I know that's
It's
such
not
a
been
great.
It's been hard. Yeah, but do you know why? Because everyone wants to do it now. No
That's
one
what
wanted to do it when I started 10 years ago. That was
that
part of the thing.
that's what my friend told me. He's like, now that with an iPhone, it used to be you had to have like one of these microphones I'm using now, or but now
Yeah.
everyone with an iPhone can just do it, so it's so saturated.
Yeah, it is a saturated market. I mean, look, I feel so lucky to be working in video games because they have such like breadth and they take so much time
Yeah.
that I love it because it keeps you busy. You can easily work on a video game longer than you would a film. Like
Wow.
easily.
I did not know that.
Yeah, easily. I mean, obviously, it depends on the size of the game, it depends on the size of your role. But if we shot A Nightmare Wakes for a month, I would say that on a good video game, I would hope to be doing a sort of 4 months of solid recording initially, and then
Wow.
pickups for the rest of the year.
And
So,
I know with those recordings, usually they're indoors in a nice studio. Has it changed with the
yes.
pandemic?
Yes. I have a tiny cubby hole upstairs that my boyfriend shoved a microphone into and was like, "Go, keep earning, keep paying the mortgage, sweetheart." And then he shoves me in the cubby hole and he shuts the door. No, but so
Love it. Harry Potter style.
Harry Potter style, exactly. So I now work in a padded cell, even smaller than the padded cells we were in before. But when you go into a studio, it is still very lovely because it's big and it's expansive and you have space to perform, and that's a really nice feeling. Yeah. At the
That
moment, I'm quite constricted and kind of
I
doing a lot of this acting.
I think
Yeah.
we all feel like that. But let's start at the
Yeah.
beginning. Where did you grow
Yes, go
up?
for it. I grew up in London. I am a born and bred Londoner, of which I think we are few and far between, but
How
I'm an actual genuine Londoner. Yeah.
how was that experience?
Well, I never really knew anything different.
Yeah.
So I love the multiculturalism and the diversity of London, and I love what an immersive city it is, and the culture and the music and the dance and the clubbing is off the hook, and it's
Yeah.
a real melting pot of cultures. I know New York is like that as well, and
Yeah.
I know lots of big cities are like that, but I think London is actually one of the most integrated cities in the world, I would say.
Yeah, I actually fully agree with that. But
Yeah.
talk to me. What are your parents artists? What do they do?
No, not at all. One of them works in the health service,
Oh,
and has
nice.
given 30 years of her life to the health service. And the other one now owns a cinema, but was in business before then. So no artists in the family. I'm the first, and they were horrified, basically.
So talk to me. How did the whole art bug happen for you?
I never wanted to do anything else. It really was like a sort of it's the only thing I ever wanted to do from the age of 4.
Do you
Um,
remember the impetus? Like, was there something you watched? Something? It was the same for me, but
yeah,
I think it was Back to the Future that really kind of got me. Was there
yeah.
an equivalent
No,
for?
I was probably just a kind of another middle class neglected child whose parents worked too hard and wanted their attention. It's,
Yeah.
it's probably as boring
Are
as
you the
that.
Are you the only child?
I'm not the only child, I'm the
Okay.
oldest child. I have a brother who's an amazing carpenter, woodworker, like
Oh, also
construction
an
maker.
artist.
Also an artist,
Yeah.
exactly. So I'm the drama queen and he's like Jesus as a carpenter. So so um No, I genuinely have no idea where the art bug came from, like at all. No one really does. And I was quite good at school, so I think they hoped that I would change and become a lawyer or something sensible, like a doctor, or
Yeah.
and I didn't do any of that. So
And
yeah.
in these early formative years, at what point did you talk to your parents about it and maybe start immersing in like, youth
Oh
theater?
yeah. Oh, I did all of that. I mean, at 4, I did a one woman rendition of Sleeping Beauty where I played every part and I made everyone watch it. I distinctly remember doing that about 4 years old in our living room. And then I bugged my parents to let me go to drama school, which they absolutely didn't. So at first I was allowed to do ballet and all the dancing stuff. And then I was allowed to go to somewhere called Stagecoach, which was like Saturday school, which had
Yeah.
singing, dancing, and drama. And then when I was a teenager, I went to a place called Sylvia Young, which is a very well known London based drama school for kids. And I think it's produced people like Billy Piper and
Love
loads of other
Billy.
famous, yeah, and like loads of other famous actresses and actors. So I was allowed to do that on a Saturday, but I was not allowed to leave school until I was 18, basically, until I'd done my everything. So
Oh,
yeah.
amazing. So talk to me about those youth theater experiences. Where was that a fun experience for you
It
doing?
was, yeah, it was great. I mean, look, singing was never my strongest point, but acting always was, and
Yeah.
I had this amazing drama teacher called Tara when I was about 13, 14, 15 at Sylvia Young. And she really took me under her wing and saw how serious I was about it and encouraged me to go further in my work. And she was an incredible influence on me.
Wow.
But I look back at my report cards from those Saturday schools and they really make me laugh because they say things like, when Alix gets bored, she stops trying. And I'm like, oh, it's kind of true though.
Yeah, same here.
so
Yeah.
so in singing, if I would get a bit bored because I didn't feel it was going well, I'd just get a bit distracted and stop trying. Whereas all of my acting report cards are like 9 out of 10s and 10s out of 10. It's just very sweet. And it just shows that I haven't changed much since I was 8 years old, basically.
That's so wonderful. And with this like youth theater, were you guys doing full-fledged productions?
We were, yeah, I mean, we do, termly productions. And then when I was 17, 18, I went to a drama, like another Saturday drama school called Youngblood, which has produced some incredible actors like Ophelia Lovibond, Oliver Jackson Cohen, Augustus Prue. So like Imogen Poots, like actors who are
Oh, love
really
Imogen. The best.
working,
Yeah.
so we did that and we do productions as well, but it was all just about cramming in as much drama as I was allowed to
Yeah.
alongside my formal schooling, I guess.
That's so beautiful. And being so interested so young, were you reading a lot of plays and
Do you know what, I wasn't reading a lot of plays, but I was very into the plays and the projects that I was given. So
got
I
it.
would very much dive into that. So if we were doing the Greek tragedies, I was all about, who was Cassandra and who was Iphigenia and who was Helen of Troy and I'd get very, very into the stories that I was in, which is, again, I guess quite an actory thing to do, that you really respond to the text that you're given and you throw everything into that and then you turn your focus onto the next thing, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah,
So when we did
totally.
A Midsummer Night's Dream, I was completely in A Midsummer Night's Dream, but I didn't necessarily run off and read As You Like It afterwards.
And but doing midsummer, like that's something that I've reoccurring talked with a lot of British actors on this podcast is like that's why I think you guys are so superior is you're exposed to
No, we're not superior.
you're
They're
well,
lying to you, Ryan. They're lying
no.
to
This is
you.
my own thoughts, not theirs. But I think, something that is a big fault in American schools, maybe the lucky kids who go to private school, not as much, but I went to public school and you don't spend a lot of time reading Shakespeare or being
Yeah,
exposed to that classic Elizabethan text or
yeah,
even in drama school in high school or
yeah,
the 14 to 18 years you don't do Shakespearean production. So when it comes to college and you tackle iambic for the first time,
yeah,
you're running with your head cut off where there people do it young, and there's no small choice in Shakespeare. And that's why I think it really makes for better actors. Yeah.
I think the thing that we do have an advantage over is every year from 11 to 18, so the whole of secondary school, if you're doing English, you will do one or two different Shakespearean texts.
Yeah.
That's kind of amazing. So by the time, and that's not even in your drama class, right?
Yeah.
That's just like you start
essential
off at 11
curriculum
with Romeo and Juliet, and then you'll do something like Midsummer Night's Dream, and then you'll do Measure for Measure, and then you'll be doing Macbeth, and then it'll get a bit harder and a bit harder and a bit harder, so that I would say it, by the time you've gotten to 18, at least 12 Shakespearean plays pretty well in depth, I would say, which is a bit of a gift.
Critical. And because you lived in London, were you seeing stuff in the West End much?
Yes, I mean, very, very lucky. Like, we've got the West End, we've got the National Theatre, we've got the Fringe, we've got all of it. We had a really good, vibrant, we had an incredibly vibrant theatrical scene in London. I don't know what it's going to look like after the pandemic, is the honest truth. But I am very proud of the theatrical institutions that we have here. Yeah.
And was that a big, insightful experience for you getting to go to the West End? Is that something you did with your drama school, or is that something you did with your regular school?
Definitely. So the regular school would have done theatre outings with us because I was always a drama student and I was an English student. So they would, for both of those things, they would have taken us to theatre. And then my grandma used to take me to theatre. I was the first-born grandchild of 7. So I got loads of preferential treatment.
Wow.
I got taken to, by the time grandchild number 7 came along, like, I had bled them dry with the amount of theatre trips. So
that's amazing.
Number 7, sorry, she didn't get much, but I got a lot. So
it's all that matters.
Yeah, it's all that matters. But so my grandma was amazing at taking us to the panto, which, do you know what I mean by the panto? It's so not an American thing. It's this really weird thing that Brits do every Christmas, where we have a man dress up as a dame and a woman dress up as a prince, and there's like a fairy godmother and an evil witch, and it's complete chaos, and it's full of sexual innuendo that the children are not allowed to understand, but the adults get, and they're giggling at in the audience, and it's all that. He's behind you. It's all that kind of stuff, basically.
Wow.
It's a very British thing. It's like the epitome of British theatre, I would say.
I'm coming for Christmas now to experience.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
It's bizarre. You're going to sit there going, what? Why are they doing that? And we're like, we don't know why they're doing it. They just do it every year, every Christmas, and you just go with it. So, yeah.
That's amazing. And then and before, you turned 18, obviously you were so into it. Were you allowed to get an agent, or were your parents like, no?
Yes. At that point, my parents had no choice.
Amazing.
So when I was 16, 17, 18, I was very lucky that I got this place at a school called Latimer that had a drama department, like a proper drama department, where we did like serious plays every 3 months. And an agent came along to one of our school shows, and he saw me in it, and he approached me at the end of the show whilst I was talking to my parents. And my parents were like, who are you, strange man, talking to our daughter? And he said, no, I'm an agent, and gave me his card, and he was wonderful. And he was my first agent, actually.
Wow. And
then I started kind of doing, little bit TV roles here and there, and the little bits that you pick up along the way, that kind of stuff. And I went to drama school, and I was already signed when I went to drama school.
Which drama school did you go to?
I went to the Drama Studio London, which was a postgraduate course.
Got it.
And I should have technically have been to university before, but because I had so many TV credits at this point, they let me onto the course, which was really cool.
Amazing.
And converted that into like coursework, basically. And I was lucky, and I worked, and then when I wasn't working, I was even luckier because I got into voiceovers and I got into video games. And
was there a mentor
very lucky.
Was it this agent that guided you into that, or how did that happen?
No, not at all. It really was a case of I was doing 2 waitressing jobs. You know, I was in a restaurant by day and I was in a pub at night, and I was really struggling to make ends meet. And it was just driving me mad because, as any actor
Such a
will tell
brutal
you,
life. Yeah.
well, that's the thing. And as any actor will tell you, when they have to make the money to pay for their rent and their life, that's obviously taking time and energy away from creativity, away from auditions,
40
away
to
from,
50 hours a week away from it,
yeah,
you know? Yeah.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And I think I got desperate, is the truth. And I'd heard of voiceovers, and I did a little bit of training in radio at drama school, and I was like, right, I've got to go for it. So I paid to get a voice reel done. I sent it out. You know, I will caveat this, that I sent it out 3 times over 18 months, you know, so every 6 months, round 1, round 2, round 3. And at the end of round 3, one agent got back to me and
Wow.
said, we'll give you a chance. One. But then I was very lucky because I
Are
got
you still
signed
with
and I kind
them?
of flew. I left them last
Ah,
year, unfortunately.
crumbs,
But we
crumbs.
had a really good, you know what? We had a really good 10-year run. And I
Yeah.
will forever be grateful for that, you know, for the
Ah,
opportunities that they brought to me. So yeah.
that's amazing. And so during those 18 months, you were still waitressing and working
Yeah.
at the pub.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
talk,
Exactly.
was it, a one credit on a show, or was it this voiceover thing that literally like allowed you to stop having to do those jobs?
It was the voiceovers. It was 100% the voiceovers, because the voiceovers just flew, and I was so lucky, you know. And I'm very aware that my journey in the video game world has been that kind of Cinderella story, and I don't take it for granted,
Yeah.
because a lot of people have more of an experience that resembles my journey in the acting world, where you do a smaller thing and then you do a medium thing and then you do a bigger thing, and you know. But I was just very, very lucky. I had one of those voices that people really liked, you know.
Yeah.
And I think I was very unafraid as
Yeah.
well. I'm very unafraid in the booth to just go for it.
Yeah, you got to take
So
chances. That's how you get somewhere.
yeah,
That's a,
exactly.
that's amazing. And as you started to, dwindle away from that work, how were auditions going? Were you still booking, we call it co-star, guest star? Were you booking
Yes.
things here and there?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We would call it the same as well. I was booking little bits of stuff here and there. Um, you know, I think one of the kind of earliest setbacks I had was that when I was 18, I got booked as a lead in this really big, well, we thought it was going to be big TV show called
Yeah.
Bombshell for ITV, which is one of our main channels over here. And I shot an entire series, and then the series was never released. The whole series. They shelved the
Not even the
whole
pilot?
series. Not even the pilot. They shot a whole series, and the whole thing was shelved. And that was
Why?
when I was 18, turning 19. Oh my God. Politics, conflicting scheduling. They had rival programs that were on the air. And then there was another program that was on the air on BBC One that was a direct conflict to ours. It went on and on and on
You
and
got
on
paid though,
and on.
obviously, right?
I got paid, but I
Yeah.
also learned I learned the hard way that this is not a nice industry. You know,
And
it's not a
nothing's, even
fair
if you film
industry.
something, it doesn't
Even if
cut
you
you.
film the
Yeah.
bloody series,
Yeah.
it's not necessarily going to be released,
Yeah.
which is mind blowing, you know?
And so you couldn't even probably use that for your show reel,
No.
right?
So it was like, I mean, I did eventually get a copy of it on DVD like 2 years later or something, but that was a real wake up call, you know?
Wow.
But
And
it's a
then
hard road being an actor.
and because you had so much training, were you spending a lot of time auditioning for theater as well?
Yeah, I mean, here, I've never managed to crack the theatrical industry in quite the way I would like to. And I think it's sort of the same in the States, that here you get quite streamlined, I would call
Yeah,
it. So you
totally.
tend to either be, for some reason, casting directors look at you and they go, she's a TV actress, or they
Yeah.
go, she's a film actress, or film and TV tend to go together. And then they go, she's a stage actress. I
Yeah.
do not know why that happens. It's just one of those things that happen. So theatre, unfortunately, I've never really had a chance to kind of actually go for it hell for leather. It's just not something that I've done a lot of. but it is my favorite medium, ironically.
I'm curious because here in America, the real trick to breaking into theater as an actor, in fact, I would argue, unless you get really lucky, the only way is to get an MFA from like a Juilliard, a Yale, an
Yeah.
NYU. Is it the same with the aristocratic British drama schools there? Those are the
Yeah.
guys. Yeah.
If you go to RAD or Lambda, of course, you're going to be seen by the best casting directors. You're going to be seen by the best agents. Of course, that's going to move you forward. But even there, you could be a third year RADA graduate and you get cast in a big TV series.
Yeah.
And then suddenly the casting directors go, oh, no, but he's a TV actor. He doesn't do
Yeah.
theatre. He's just TV actor. And actually, for me personally, I suspect that one of the reasons that I've probably done so well in the video game world is because it is quite theatrical in nature.
Yeah.
The same with performance capture. And I think that I'm just.
Do you do motion capture as well?
I do loads of motion capture, yeah,
Wow.
and performance capture, all of it. So I think that I'm looking forward to doing a huge television series, and then all the theatrical casting directors want me to be in their play.
So we're going to get you Peaky Blinders. You started filming.
Exactly. That's my game. That's my not so secret anymore game plan.
I love
it. A huge film or TV star, and then I'll be allowed onto the stage.
Well, if you don't mind, before we dig into The Wife or Nightmare Wakes, I think this is an incredible thing I'd love to touch on because I've not touched on it in any episode in the podcast. Can you really, let's break down the voiceover acting thing, because I think a lot of actors out there want to get into it. They don't understand how to get into it. You just gave a beautiful story about how hard it was for you. Talk about, the idea of creating a voice for something that may or may not exist in like a physical video or photo form yet. So how do you make decisions for, if it's a commercial, obviously it's a little more obvious, but for a video game, some of these things are really high concept and, speaking of science fiction, like you got no idea, like how do you succeed in that?
So I guess some of the things that I would do is, if I was listening to this now and I was thinking I really want to get into that, I would go and I would find like top 20 video game actors, just do a Google search.
Yeah.
And then I'd follow all of them on Twitter and Instagram. And then I'd start picking up the tips that they start sharing and the podcasts that they start sharing, because there is now a lot of information out there.
Yeah.
And I think that the thing that people forget is being a voiceover went out of fashion like 20 years ago. You're a voice actor. So you have to be an actor. And I think a lot of people get confused that some people, they hear these characters and they go, I want to do that. And it's like, okay, but are you an actor? Because if you're doing a game that lasts, let's say 40 to 60 hours main quest, right? You got to be able to sustain a character for like 60 to 40 hours.
Totally.
Not of recording, but of final product.
Yeah.
Do you see the difference? That's when they've done all the editing.
Yeah.
So you have to be able to create a character the way that you would for a film or TV job. You have to be able to sustain your voice, have good vocal health. You have to.
Do you work with a coach?
Be brave. I don't work with a coach actually, but I would not be afraid to get a coach. If I've had singing coaches for when I've had to sing, and I would not be afraid to get a coach if I needed one, for example, for a specific accent.
Yeah.
Generally speaking, the production would give you that. And just be really brave. Like, go back to the core of your acting where you're being creative and bold and brave, and approach it like that. Do not hold back, because you only have the microphone picking up your sound. You don't have a costume designer making you look like the character. You don't have hair and makeup making you look like the character. You don't have a set, putting you into the space. It's just your voice. You've got to be extra brave, is how I would say, and just throw it out there.
I know you get like a little breakdown or a synopsis of the character / the game if you're lucky, but I'd love for you to talk about making choices. Is that something when you do this, like, do you give it, one or two or three different ways, or do you just stick with one way?
I would probably, see, the way I look at it, it's slightly the same with taped auditions now, so self-tapes.
Yeah.
There are so many actors competing for the same role. I slightly think that one take that you really wholeheartedly believe in is kind of strong enough,
Yeah.
because it'll stand out from the next person. Whereas if you put a second take, if they're really different, of course, but when you're looking at like third or fourth takes, I think it sometimes doesn't look like you know what you're doing.
No, totally. I agree.
So I think you have to
Yeah.
make a choice and go with it, and assume that the casting director has asked you in because they trust that you are a good actor and they want to see your interpretation of that. And then they can always pick up the phone to your agent and say, hey, actually, do you know what? We love Ryan's tone and we loved his cadence,
Yeah.
but we just felt his delivery was too high. Can he bring it down a bit? You can re-record it. It's not the end of the world. Do you see what I mean? Because there's so many different ways to pull out a voice, is how I would describe it.
Yeah.
So I feel like make bold choices, make big choices, and be unapologetic for them. And if you want to pull them back, do pull them back. Get to know your microphone as well. Whatever you're working with, you know, moving in, moving away, how does it sound? Have a play and think about all that stuff.
So beautiful. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank
And
you.
motion capture, is that something that was like right away, or did you build up to that?
That was a kind of natural extension of working in video games, as game developers have wanted to make their games more realistic or more cinematic. So that was a sort of natural, it just kind of happened as the technology has advanced anyway. But again, I've been very lucky, you know, I've been very lucky to get into motion capture and performance capture by the way, sorry, just to clear something up. So people do call it motion capture, but if anyone says performance capture is more what I do, which is very specifically like a facial recording, a vocal recording, and the body. So it's like the whole character 360, where sometimes you can be hired for a motion capture job. And what that means is they're just filming your body, like lifting up the arm, putting down the arm, opening
like simplistic
the
physical movements.
Exactly. And that's a really specialized area of work as well. There are people who do motion capture day in, day out, and they're amazing at it because they understand the way the technology works, you know.
Yeah.
Whereas I'm more the actor that you bring in and think of it as like filming a play is how I would describe it.
Thank you for explaining that. That's so beautiful. And I really appreciate that. And
You're
then
welcome.
as you started, you know, getting all these roles, that talk to me about the wife. Like, what was that experience like?
Yeah, the wife was obviously very cool because it was with Glenn Close. And the wife was an amazing experience. I mean, I'd worked with Jonathan Pryce on stage in London, one of the few times that I was on stage, in King Lear. And
so you did do a big one. You made it sound like you've never.
I did. No, I did do a big one, which is great. But I only had like very small supporting roles dotted throughout the play. I was his nurse. I was Gloucester's tenant. I was
ensemble.
I was like ensemble. I was like your friendly nurse and your friendly prostitute. You know, all at once type of
all
thing.
Friendly.
All friendly. Always friendly. But so I had worked with Jonathan for, I guess, for 5 months, probably 5 or 6 months on King Lear, which was great. So I knew Jonathan, and I obviously met Glenn, and it was a real honor. And I loved the script. If people haven't seen it, it's the story of a marriage, superficially, simplistically put, it's the story of a marriage. And of a writer and a non-writer, except it's nothing to do with that. So you have to look beneath the surface, is how I would describe it. And Glenn was obviously nominated for an Oscar for Best Actress for her performance, and rightly so. And I just felt very honored to be there and kind of learning from all these wonderful, great people, you know. And the director, Bjorn, was extraordinary because he really knew what he wanted, and he had an extraordinary background in the theater. So everything he did was very actor focused. So I remember him coming up to us and being like, can we go for one more? Do you think you could do one? Is this okay for you? And I was like, I'm just here to serve you, pal. You want one more? I'll give you one more. I'll give you 10 more. Whatever you want. He goes, no, but you have to feel good in yourself. You know that this is a Swedish accent, by the way. Anyone can't
love
tell.
it.
Like, he's like, you know, and so he'd say things like, do you feel like you can give one more? Or do you feel like you can pull something else out? He just had this beautiful way of directing, you know, and even there's a very crucial scene in the film that I am not in physically, but it involves, I call my parents. So I play Glenn Close and Jonathan Pryce's daughter.
Yeah.
They're having a massive argument that's very, very central to the plot and the kind of changes in the film. And my character, their daughter, interrupts them with a phone call to say that I've just given birth to their first grandchild. Now, another director would have just had an assistant, you know, read in like, hi, mom, hi, dad. Yeah, I'm just calling to say I've had the baby. That's kind of pretty standard, is you just have an assistant read in the lines. I was flown back up to Scotland. I was staying in the same hotel with them, and I spent the day on set with them, you know, just tucked around the corner to try and find all these different ways of me delivering that so that he could also get what he wanted out of, you know, Glenn and John, and Glenn and John could get what they wanted out of me. So I really respected how much he respected the artistic process of the actor.
That's so amazing. So that was an incredible gift to work on that film. It sounds like.
Wow. It really was.
So then, how did A Nightmare Wakes come your way?
So A Nightmare Wakes. So from The Wife, I got signed to an agency called TCA in LA.
Yeah.
And
was that your first American rep?
That was, I'd actually been repped like years ago when I was but a child. I was with UTA originally.
Oh, okay.
When I was like 23, 24.
Yeah.
And the whole LA thing just was not for me at the time. I was too young.
You moved there?
I ran from my first heartbreak in London to the open arms of Los Angeles. That was really clever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That was a clever move for a 23-year-old actress.
Yeah.
So obviously things did not go according to plan. And then I came back to London and, you know, sorted my life out and all the rest of it. But after The Wife, I was like, no, I'm ready to do LA Part 2 as an adult in my early 30s. I think I was 30 at the time. And then LA signed with TCA, and I think my second audition with them was A Nightmare Wakes.
Wow.
And I just got really lucky, you know. I mean, I didn't think that I would ever get such a cool part, you know, because it was such a great part. But I also felt, I have to say, when I auditioned, I did feel very grounded and felt very confident.
Yeah.
And I think there's a power in that as well.
Totally.
You know?
And how was it shooting it?
It was amazing shooting it. We shot in upstate New York in the autumn, which was stunning. I love and adore our writer-director, Nora Uncle. I think she's a beautiful soul inside and out. The producers were fantastic. Julian, who you obviously know, is a brilliant actor, very sensitive, very generous. You know, Claire Glassford, who played my sister in the film, is one of my dearest friends. It was a really harmonious, beautiful shoot, to be honest, you know, with like difficult subject matters, of course.
Totally.
The work was difficult at times, but there was no bullshit outside of the work. There was no drama. There was none of the nonsense that you can so easily get on a film set or a TV shoot. There was none of that, you know. So it was beautiful experience for me.
And she invented science fiction.
I mean, technically, yes.
Yeah.
Because it hadn't been written, or certainly pen to paper had not been committed in such a way before, where something was as dark and invented as that, as to bring a corpse back to life. It's not even a corpse. That's the thing, is it's different body parts, isn't it? Stitched together.
Totally.
Which is even more grim.
I know. I love that. That's amazing. And how did you guys shoot it? You shot in the fall?
We shot in the fall in a place called Hyde Hall, which is one of America's great houses, and houses with a capital H, which basically means, so in the UK, we have like castles everywhere, not to show off, but we have a lot of castles.
Totally.
We have a lot of like fancy, you know, halls and fancy big houses and things like that.
Yeah.
And in America, you have less, because obviously you're a younger country than us, right?
Yeah.
But so this house, Hyde Hall, is now a museum and a protected space, and we got to shoot there, which is pretty incredible.
So the work was kind of done for you by.
Well, we shot in a museum. I mean, that's really insane. Who gets to shoot in an actual museum where the set is completely authentic?
I think we have someone from the film joining us right now.
Julia! Hi, sweetheart.
Are you there on video? Oh, there he is.
There we go.
Hi,
What's
darling.
How you doing, dude?
Greetings.
We're just talking about your film.
We just started talking about it. You came at the perfect moment.
Yeah, I felt it. I felt the energy in the air.
I told you he was sensitive, didn't I say? I just called you a really sensitive actor. And you're like, I felt the energy. I'm like, I know, you're a sensitive guy.
Oh.
You know?
So, Julian, how was it working with her? I'm just kidding.
That's a good question.
It was, is she going to stay here? Or?
Yeah.
It was incredible. Have you guys talked about the film at all, or?
We just started.
So all I said was that we were shooting in a museum. We literally shot in a museum. You couldn't make it up.
We were shooting in. Yeah, it was incredible. They were like moving pieces around of the museum while we shot in it. Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, it was incredible. I mean, it's crazy seeing the trailer for it and coming back to it after what, I guess 2.5, almost
2 years or something.
Yeah. You let something go for that long. How did you guys have a table read to build chemistry, or?
No, Julian arrived after we started, didn't
you guys had already done
Claire
one
had
scene,
a couple,
right?
I think Claire and I had a day or two together. Claire plays Claire, to make it easy. Claire plays Claire. And I think we'd done some kind of breakdown stuff where Mary has a breakdown and she's supported by her sister. We'd done a bit of that. And then I think Julian arrived 2 or 3 days into shooting or something. Is that right, hun? Did I get that right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow, so you guys never even met before?
No,
we hadn't.
Wow.
Luckily, it worked out.
Yeah, I know. I remember when we first met, I was like, okay, we're gonna be going through this journey together. I hope we vibe. I hope we get it, because this is gonna be a lot of intensity in a very short amount of time.
Especially if we hadn't liked each other, that would have been really difficult.
Yeah,
I know.
Or it could have added to it maybe, but it was very, very, I was very lucky to immediately, the second I met Alix, we were like, oh, okay, I got this. We're going to be here. We're going to be able to do this. Yeah, they're going to be partners in crime in this whole thing. It's going to be great.
That's amazing.
Oh, wow.
And what's it like for both of you guys playing something that's, surreal, literally, like, is that a lot of it, the film is edited and there's really intense ways. Like, was that hard to kind of play that while filming it, or?
Julian had a harder time because you have 2 characters technically.
Yeah, I've got I remember it was like, okay, hey, in the script it looks like there's this other guy, and am I playing that guy? No. No, but it was keeping track of for me, it was just keeping track of both journeys for each character, because you're already shooting out of order on most films, on most sets. This one was definitely out of order. And it was just like, okay, what point am I at here? Are we in love? Are we fighting? Are we in between? And what is the nuance of all that? And then how much of that am I bringing in for this I don't want to spoil anything, I guess, but for this other character and his abstract connection to Percy, to Percy, who I was playing as sort of my main character. And it was like, how can I bring in some of that? Because I guess in some ways it's all related to you, Alix. So I wanted to I wanted to make sure that I was connecting the things, but at the same time there was a big difference between the 2 characters, because it can be really gimmicky really quickly, playing 2 different characters.
You did a really good job, hon. You did a really good job.
Alix, speaking of doing a good job, how you were so amazing, and the emotional spectrum, was that really, tough for you to navigate the highs and the lows of Mary?
It was on some days. of course, because some days you have off days, right?
Yeah, and some days you don't feel like being sad.
Yeah. But on the whole, I mean, look, I did some weird shit on set to get into my zone, and Julian and Claire were very accommodating of my screaming or swinging my arms around, or doing bizarre movements. And I think I got away with being allowed to like really warm up because I was the lead, basically. So I feel like I was allowed to do that. And then also, look, we worked in a very spooky house where there was just some weird stuff happening,
Yeah,
and I think there was an incredible
crazy
energy that we tapped into. It was there were moments where it just felt like I was so I've just lost an earpod. But there were moments where it felt like it was channeling, less acting and more channeling. So
using your surroundings literally.
After all of these warm-ups that she's talking about, she would come in and just do the most incredible stuff that no one expected, and it would be like the perfect fucking thing going on, and it would just be like, okay, let her do her thing, whatever your thing is, continue doing that thing. It was really,
and then
like,
Claire wanted to do the thing as well. Claire was
can I do it as well?
Claire was like, I want this energy. And I was like, come, let's go warm up together. We're ready for this.
Oh man, you should have seen me and Alix and I just like on the beach, like jumping up and down, trying to like, get the energy into our bodies. And there's just all these behind the scenes videos of us losing our minds because the stakes are so high throughout the entire film. And so it was just like, when you're doing that out of order thing, when you're doing these and to be honest, a lot of the scenes are very short as well, because it lives in sort of like abstract place. It was just, there's not a lot of buildup. It's not theater. It's like, okay, you got this 1 minute scene and you're at the pinnacle of your emotions at this moment, again and again. So how, for the fifth time today, and how are you going to get there? You know what I mean? You just gotta find ways to do it.
And Alix and Julian, was it on the darker subject days, like could you guys not interact as friends, or was that?
We could. Julian was very sweet and very protective of me, and I think I was quite protective of you as well.
We would give space on those days. I think it was more like, I got you, like I'm here if you need me, but I know you're going to be needing to do your thing, especially if it was like a conflict scene between us, because there's a lot of conflict between our characters, and it's not super helpful to have someone be really beautifully kind and deeply movingly sensitive to you right before you have to like have this horrible fight and like really hate them, deeply. So it's like we would give each other the space, but then at the same time there was always like an underlying sense of safety, of understanding, and respect for each other, which is why I loved working with Alix. There was respect everywhere across the board, from Nora, from Alix, with Claire, with each other's processes, and for you to have your time to explore what you need to do, which was it was great.
So beautiful. Well, Julian, thanks so much for joining. I'm gonna wrap up with Alix here.
Totally.
I love you, brother. Thank you for joining us.
I can't wait to listen to this. And
you were
talk
incredible.
About cyberpunk. I've been playing through. I saw Alix on
there. Have you met my character yet?
Yes.
Okay.
You like to play abstract characters, is what we're saying.
Yeah. Have you met a lot of my character?
I think so. Yeah.
I'll text you. You'll know. Okay. You'll know when you've met a lot of my characters.
Okay.
You'll know.
Okay.
You'll know.
All right. Love you, Julian. I'll call you later, brother.
All right. Love
Bye,
you guys.
sweetheart.
Right.
Speak to you later. Bye.
Sorry, Alix. I hope I didn't mean. I just had to do it. Yeah.
He's so sweet. I love him.
Yeah.
He's like my baby brother. I love him. He's amazing.
So that's amazing. So then also I would love to ask you, I think the frustrating thing of sometimes being a film and television actor is, like you just said, you guys shot this 2 years ago, you can sometimes, depending on the project, seize on the momentum, but most of the time people want to see it first. So, did this help you get more American material, or?
I wouldn't say, I don't, who knows? Is the honest truth. Who knows? I really don't know. I think
Let me
it might
rephrase
help
it.
me.
Is it imperative for you to balance both countries, the UK and USA, or?
No, I feel like if you're lucky enough to be working as an actor, just take the best script. Whichever
Yeah.
script makes your heart sing, go with that script. Life is so short, like
Yeah.
go for the best scripts that you can, work with the best artists that you can, strive to do the things that make you happy and just reach for the whatever the best is that you can. You're not always going to get offered great scripts.
Yeah.
The A Nightmare Wakes scripts and The Wife script, they're few and far between,
Yeah.
So go for the best that you can and hope, touch wood, that it works out.
Amazing. Well, speaking of future, I see you got a few projects coming up. Can you tell us a little bit about them?
Yeah, so I just had a part in a new series called Tailspin for Apple TV opposite Uma Thurman.
Has
so that was very
that
cool.
Has that aired? That's not aired yet, right?
No,
okay.
We shot it in December, so that will be out. Ways away. So that's not coming out for a while.
If you don't mind me asking, what was that your first pandemic working experience?
Yes, it was my first pandemic working experience, actually.
And for the actors listening, was that really hard? Because I know there's so many protocols and strict guidelines and things you can and can't do.
No, do you know what? I felt like they were very, very well organized, and the production really took all of that in hand, which was very lucky. So I think because I felt safe, and I hope, Uma felt safe and the other actors felt safe, we just kind of did our thing. We were all tested. We had like 2 tests before shooting, another test while shoot, 3 tests a week. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
And my part is tiny, and it was just very cool.
There's no tiny parts.
It's thank you. But it was just very cool. I was like, Glenn Close, Uma Thurman.
I gotta ask, how was working with Uma? She's the best.
Like, she's amazing. Like, the thing that people don't tell you about these movie stars like Glenn and Uma is they really are movie stars.
Yeah.
So like, I try to be cool and, play Glenn's daughter or play Uma's political advisor. And really, I'm just looking at them going, you're so beautiful.
I know. You're just glowing. But you're beautiful. You glow.
Thank you, sweetheart. But it's like, it's like they just glow.
Yeah.
And they just like themselves, and everything they do is so interesting, and they just look perfect. And so I think most of my performances are opposite these legends are just like, just watching them,
soaking in the energy. Hey, you know what Banksy says? The best artists steal. So just steal from them.
Yeah, there you go. So I just want to steal from all these great women that I get to act with. So that was very cool. And then I did a little thing for the BBC, which was like a reading of Mary Wollstonecraft, who was actually, weirdly, Mary Shelley's mother.
No way.
So yeah,
I don't believe in fate, but that's real
crazy weird, right?
Yeah,
and that'll probably come out sometime this year on BBC Two, I think.
And talk to me, before we dig into the final few questions. It's a really, really tough time to be an actor in any part of the world. How have you been keeping yourself inspired during these troubling times?
I haven't. I'm not going to sit here and bullshit you and be like, I do my yoga every morning. I have my chai. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling centered. It's hard. We're human. Everyone's human.
And you guys are on your third
lockdown,
right?
We're on our third lockdown, our third national lockdown.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, actors, artists, we are sensitive. We are empathetic. We are creatures who feel very, very deeply. Yeah. So all of this stuff, of course, it gets under our skin. I was late today because I hadn't washed my hair for 4 days, and I
that's why it's so great.
I need to wash my hair. I was like, I need to wash my hair before I do a live interview with Ryan. Okay,
you look amazing. I would never have known.
Thanks, darling.
Yeah,
but it's just And I think that's a very human experience,
Yeah.
you know, and I think it's okay to have an extraordinarily confronting human experience during these incredibly extraordinary confronting times.
Yeah.
These are difficult times. Why do we expect them to be easy?
Yeah.
You know, of course, go outside, step in the sun, walk around the block, drink enough water, make sure you get enough sleep. You know, try to do one thing every day that you tick off and you feel, yeah, I did that. That's good. I'm proud of myself, you know. Try as best as you can to keep your mental health in check. You know, Julian is an amazing musician. I'm sure he's writing loads of music, but it is hard as an actor to kind of keep going. But
do you ever play your own video games or no?
I play them a little bit in the most like horrendously vain, narcissistic way, Ryan. It's embarrassing.
Yeah, that's
I just
what we
play
do.
To see myself.
I know.
Sorry, it's so bad.
I love the honesty.
It's so bad. I was like, hang on, where's my bit coming up? Oh,
yeah,
there she is.
Yeah.
You know?
Just get to the good part.
There we go. She's there. There you go.
Amazing.
So I do, yes. But I have, you know, I have so many video games to work through at this point from start to finish. So
I should get into them because I'm burning through Netflix. I think I've seen everything at this point. But
burning through Netflix as well.
Yeah. Final question. You know, for all the young Alexes out there that are, you know, 4, 5, 6, I don't know, 18, wide-eyed, and really want to get into this business and don't really know how. Any words of wisdom or advice you'd have for them?
Keep going, keep going. And when you can't go on anymore, keep going.
That's so
that would
beautiful.
be my thing.
So
because you never know what's around the corner. Yeah. You know, I mean, so many times I've been like, "That's it, universe. I'm done. I'm checking out. I'm quitting.
Yeah.
Just I'm done." And then they'll be like, "Here, have a part opposite Uma Thurman," and I go,
"I always knew it."
You have a crazy sense of humor out there, you know.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. Alix Wilton Regan, this has been such a pleasure. I have so much love for you.
Right.
I would love
to do so lovely. We can do this again.
Yeah, please. I want to do it again. Let's do it all the time. Again. Yeah.
I love it.
I got so much love for you. Just I don't know if it's cool. We can cut this out if you're not, but for people that want to stay in touch with everything that you're up to, what's the best way for them?
If they can follow me on Twitter or on Instagram, it's at Alix Wilton Regan. It's just my name, at Alix Wilton Regan.
Amazing. Alix Wilton Regan, you're the best. You're going to take over. I got so
Ryan.
much love for you, and take care of yourself.
I'll see you there, babe.
Yeah.
I'll see you there.
I'll see you at the Oscars in 5 years.
Yeah, I'll see you there.
All right. So much love.
Take care. Bye.
Right.
Thank you.
I am thrilled to announce that An Actor Despairs is partnering with a wonderful CBD company called Kind Farms. Everyone out there has heard of CBD. I started taking it a few years ago when I first started getting sober and to help with my anxiety. Sadly, as one can do, I was overtraining in the gym, and a friend recommended a topical and a tincture to help with the pain. I tried it. It was okay. However, recently, I was introduced to a product that has really changed my life. Not only has it helped me with anxiety, but I am stronger than I have ever been. I'm able to carry out lifts my body used to prevent me from doing. Kind Farm products have single-handedly changed my life athletically and personally. They utilize 100% local licensed farmers, organic cultivation, and CO2 extraction for superior CBD. Kind Farms is turning CBD to a kind alternative to pharmaceuticals. Let's transform tobacco row into hemp row. If you want to get involved, please reach out. Together, we can make a difference. You can use my code RYAN10 for 10% off. You can find them on Instagram at Kind Farms Inc., all one word. That's KINDPHARMSINC, and their website is kindfarmsinc.com. Once again, my code for 10% off is RYAN10.